Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of On Deck with the Charlotte Knights. Matt Swierad joining you. And today our special guest is the Charlotte Knights General Manager, Rob Egan. And this show is always brought to us by Truist. Rob, good to see you. How you doing?
Great to see you, Matt. Doing well, and hope you and your family are as well, and everybody's staying safe out there.
We are. Thank you very much. And I think, I want to touch on a few questions here today. And one of them is a lot of fans are wanting to know when would the Charlotte Knights season begin?
Yeah, it's the first question we get asked, and it's difficult to answer. There's no definitive answer yet. What I do like, though, is that there's optimism more every day that there's going to be a major league season. How does that impact the Knights? Well, if there's a major league season, even with an expanded roster for a major league club, if they go to, say, 30 players instead of the 26 they're scheduled to go to, they're still going to need some of their higher level prospects to be playing and ready if they have injuries or performance issues at the major league level. So that means that there'll be minor leaguers, especially higher level minor leaguers, playing when the major league season gets going. Does that mean they'll be playing in Charlotte? We certainly hope so. And do we know when that is? No. However, I will say that Major League Baseball, even though they're going to start later, they have talked openly about pushing their season later through October and into November even. And by extension, needing those players to be ready if they need them from AAA or AA, their higher level players. When our season starts, it will likely be extended as well through September and maybe even into early October. Now that's unusual for people, and they can't get their minds around that because that's not usually how it's worked. But that is possible. So we wanted to communicate that with all of our fans to let you know that, hey, just because we haven't played these games in April or May doesn't mean we might not be able to make them up in September and maybe even that first week of October.
That'd be fun. I know sometimes you start the season, the weather's a bit cooler, sometimes on the road for us anyway, and you got those sweatshirts out. Maybe we'll have the sweatshirts and jackets in September and October this year at BB&T Ballpark. Hey, so now I know we got a stay-at-home order right now. A lot of folks working from home, trying to stay safe. What is the Knights front office doing?
Well, quite a lot, actually. Even though we don't have folks coming into the ballpark and a baseball season going on, we're getting ready for the season. We're staying ready for the season. So examples of things, our sales staff is reaching out to all of our season ticket members, our suite holders, our sponsor partners, individual game ticket holders, group holders, all those folks to let them know and keep communicating with them. Hey, we know we're not going to have these games on this date. You had a group booked for this date, for instance, but hang with us because we're going to have available dates later in the summer. And we may have even more dates in September or October with that expanded season, like I mentioned. So we're explaining the mechanics of that, even though we don't have a definitive start date. So that's been helpful in trying to stay in communication. Our content staff, our marketing, promotions, and entertainment staff have done a great job keeping out in front, informing folks of what we know, plus trying to entertain them a little bit with Knights baseball from past years, some things that we've been doing with MLB The Show, and just different kinds of content to stay engaged. And Matt, you've been a big part of that, so thank you. And David and Chase, who are helping put this together, a whole team putting this together, so it's been great. And then here operationally at the ballpark, our operations staff, our director of field operations, they're making sure that the ballpark's maintained, that the field's maintained, so it's ready to go once we start playing baseball. So across the spectrum, we've been kind of gearing up and staying ready for whenever that season starts.
I know personally I've enjoyed the stay-at-home series, getting to see some baseball again and hear Ken Conrad's voice at BB&T Ballpark. Hey, we hope we are playing baseball again sometime this summer. But if we get to extend it for a while where we don't play, the ballpark may be opening up, soon. Other events could be going on there, right?
That's correct. And to that point, Matt, we're preparing for reopening of the ballpark. You mentioned the Knights games. That's the key focus for us. But there are many, many special events that go on here at the ballpark. And there's maybe opportunities as an open air facility with the ability to social distance in this ballpark for even groups of people to spread out. Opportunities to do other things that maybe they can't do in an enclosed building right now. So we're looking at different things, and among them, safety first, right? So the things that we're doing are touchless transactions and entry. We're working on that. Deep cleaning before and between events. The other things that we've been doing, we're ordering and we'll have in place hand sanitizing stations at many points throughout the ballpark. All of those beams that lead down to your seats in the seating bowl, you'll see those there when you come in for Knights games and maybe even before then. Sneeze guards at our concession areas, cashless payment availability throughout the ballpark, where we just plan to kind of walk into that a little bit. We're running into it now so that we have it available throughout. So those are examples of the things that we're doing to get it ready. And, as far as seating charts are concerned for Knights games, we're looking at that. If we have to go at reduced capacity, we've already looked at socially distanced seats that are going to be able to be used throughout the season, as well as those standing drink rail seats and some of the upper areas of the ballpark where you can stand and still enjoy the game safely. So we've really looked at a number of things from operations to fan safety. It's all geared around that. And we're looking forward to opening up the ballpark to events and Knights games when we can, and we'll be ready for it.
Rob, all great information. Thanks so much. Really appreciate the update. We'll be giving more throughout the coming weeks as well. Rob, thank you again.
Matt, thank you very much for doing this, and thanks to all our fans and partners for staying with us. We're optimistic. We look forward to seeing you out here at the ballpark, and stay safe until then.
Stay tuned for another edition of On Deck with the Charlotte Knights coming up in the very near future. And as always, go Knights.
Go Knights.